Sentiance empowers the world's leading companies to create personalized engagement solutions, delivering technology for a new human-centric economy. They turn motion into mobility insights. Insurtechs and insurers leverage Sentiance telematics technology to build innovative use cases, focused on improving driving behavior and risk prevention, driver coaching, fraud prevention, and dynamic pricing. Today, they will show how the insurance industry is in an optimal position to democratize driving intelligence, making driver safety accessible to all, leading to a decrease in accidents and a reduction in insurance premiums. Please welcome Sentiance.
Buenos dias, good morning. Hope everybody's having a good conference so far. Hope you have a good rest of the conference, but most importantly, thank you for joining my session today. So, no doubt many people in this room have seen this statistic before. It's maintained by the World Health Organization, and it highlights the unprecedented pandemic that we're dealing with on the world's roads. That's almost 4,000 people a day that are dying on the world's roads. And to put that into some context, over the last 3 years, through the COVID pandemic, if we average out the number of deaths, that's around 5,000 people a day. So this is definitely a problem that's worth focusing on. So the topic of my presentation today is democratization of road safety. And what that really means is it means making road safety a basic human right, irrespective of your socio-economic background. More specifically, as it relates to road safety and the roads, we can think of that as the road infrastructure, the vehicles and the technologies that go into the vehicles that we use on the world's roads, whether that's advanced collision avoidance systems or airbags, as well as the education and training and the periphery technologies that make the world's roads safer. So we, as an insurance industry, are unequivocally well-placed to contribute towards bringing that number down, that 1.35 million down. And that's, of course, because of our risk assessment capabilities, the large amount of data that we sit on, our influence on policy and regulation, through our evidence-based policy making, through the information that we can provide to policymakers, our risk mitigation and education through the campaigns that we present to the market, and lastly, through our collaboration and partnerships across industry, as well as both through private and public sector. And lastly, the technologies that we've developed for our insurance program, like mobile telematics. So with this ethos of shared value-based insurance, there are many benefits to the insurer. That is to engage the communities, to mitigate to risk, developing trusted brand reputations, and ultimately increasing the revenue potential for the insurer. So now what I wanted to do is just share a couple of examples with you where this spirit of shared value-based insurance has been implemented by different insurers. So the first example, this is actually an initiative that was launched in 2005 in South Africa. So quite an old initiative, but really carries this spirit of shared value-based insurance. One of the problems in Johannesburg is there's power outages, which means a lot of the traffic intersections, there's no power for the traffic lights to work in peak hour traffic. So Outsurance partnered with the Johannesburg Metropolitan City to essentially train up these points men and women. And they deploy these 200 people around the busy intersections in Johannesburg, which reduces the congestion on the roads in Johannesburg, but also contributes towards making safer roads. Another initiative in the UK, this is the AXA Know You Can campaign, and this is aimed at raising awareness on climate control. The campaign is featured on TV as well as online, and it highlights the impact that individuals can play on contribution towards positive sustainability by, for example, reducing their energy consumption or taking alternative modes of transport to reduce their CO2 emissions. Another example, also in South Africa, it's got nothing to do with the fact that I'm South African, but this is a collaboration by, which I quite like, two competing insurers in South Africa, both Discovery and Dial Direct, as well as with the Johannesburg Metropolitan, is they launched an application where people can download the app and they can pinpoint potholes. And then there's a fleet of these pothole patrol vans that will go around and they will fix the potholes on the streets of Johannesburg. I think by the end of 2022, they had fixed over 100,000 potholes in and around the streets of Johannesburg. So this really sort of encompasses this spirit of shared value-based insurance that helps the insurer, the insured, but also society as a whole. So the question is, could then mobile telematics or telematics, a technology that we as an industry have developed, contribute towards the greater society as a whole and really play into the principles of the shared value-based insurance? We know from countless different case studies and examples that usage-based insurance programs absolutely work. And they work in the context of being able to improve loss ratios. My industry peers, I've seen many case studies, programs that have similar sort of results to this one, which is one of our customers in South Africa, where they've seen an improvement of loss ratio of 8%. But this obviously plays into the dynamics of the relationship between the insured and the insurer, where there's this monetary incentive. So the question is, if you take this monetary incentive away, could mobile telematics be used to improve people's driving, outside of the metaphorical carrot and stick? So over the last few years, we've been working with RAC Western Australia. This is the RAC have, I think it's 1.2 million members. And we worked with them to develop their RAC Go application, which is solely focused on improving or reducing distracted driving. So zero incentive to download the application, zero monetary incentive to actually change your behavior. And it's relatively early days, but we've still seen some promising results. So 60% in a drop in distracted driving for over 50% of the population. 3/4 of the population that downloaded the application interacting with the challenges, and 60% of these users continuing to engage after the first 3 months. So the question is then, what's stopping us or stopping you as insurers today from utilizing this technology that we've developed as an industry to embrace this idea of shared value-based insurance and go far beyond providing a tool to our insured policyholders and distributing this to our entire customer base, our entire personal lines customer base, or partnering with telcos or security companies. As my industry colleague in CMT mentioned earlier, you've got industries like telcos who now want to be able to add these value-added propositions like crash detection, driver safety to their applications. But what's stopping us from doing that today? And we've learned that the key sort of barrier here is, of course, engagement and adoption. And that engagement and adoption is limited because of trust, and that trust is because of data privacy and data sharing. And then the biggest one here is actually the cost in the technologies to be able to scale this solution. So having spoken to our industry colleagues, our customers and prospects over the last few years, we've been developing our on-device solution. So for those not very familiar with mobile telematics, the biggest cost incurred is from processing the heavy sensor data that's collected from the mobile phone in the cloud to produce the driving scores that are used as the benchmark to ultimately layer on your coaching layer. So by migrating or moving our entire sort of processing pipeline to the device, we've been able to reduce the cost by 90%. And this really is the sort of the game changer, which will enable the industry and our customers to offer this technology to users far outside of their policyholders. As well as to mention the privacy element. The data is no longer leaving the device, more specifically the really personal data like your GPS data is now sitting on the user's device. It's only the scores that are leaving the edge. So today we're holding an open discussion roundtable at 3 o'clock. We would love any of our industry friends to come along and learn more about our on-device capabilities within the realm of mobile telematics, discuss a few of the case studies and the use cases we're working on, and hear a little bit more about how you could leverage this technology in your business. Thank you very much.